Out-of-body experiences are something that we can all have. It's actually something that we all experience at least every night when we engage with our dream body, our astral body, our double for dreaming. The distinction that we make when we say I had an out-of-body experience or not is basically because we remember it. But our consciousness essentially, I mean, it's engaged in all our different energetic systems, including, of course, the physical body. But we live in a world where, I mean, we haven't really developed this, and also we don't really see a lot of benefit in engaging with our other energetic structures, usually in the grand scheme of things. So there are many things that we can do for actively kind of signaling our energetic structures that or our different bodies that we want to start engaging with them, and I'll talk about those later in the video. I'm going to tell you about a few that I personally do, and I'm actually doing right now. And I'll also tell you about my most recent out-of-body experience. But I wanted to start by telling you a little bit about the vision of these different bodies and how consciousness would engage in them or engages in them for us to say, I had an out-of-body experience. So, I mean, many different spiritual traditions, cultures have the notion that we are more than our physical body, that we have, let's say, different bodies, different energetic bodies that are also that are also part of our experience, but let's say they're used for other things, or they can access different levels of reality or different spaces or dimensions. Different traditions have different explanations for this. I won't get too deep into them, but for instance, in my understanding of Kabbalah, there's this idea or this notion of our divine spark given 5 different souls or different coverings for being able to navigate in the different worlds. Buddhism has, for instance, the notion of the 3 bodies or the 3 dimensions or the 3 kayas. And I mean, in Tantra we find this as well. And the idea of these different bodies is, or let's say the goal with what to do with these different bodies is to integrate them. So I mean, you can see it from many different ways, but we could say that one of the end goals of a path towards growth would be to integrate these different realities, different bodies. If we look at it more from a only psychological perspective, we can also say that the intention is to integrate our different parts. And essentially, the way I see it is that these different bodies or different energetic structures are, they go from the most dense to, least less dense in terms of energy. And in the Autogenic vision, which is the one that makes sense to me and the one that I studied under my teacher with this vision, and I like it because it kind of draws from different traditions to piece a bigger picture of things, with the understanding or the idea that different traditions have, we could say, a piece of the puzzle, or that they have some traditions have a really great way of explaining this particular piece of the puzzle, and some others have a really great way of explaining this other piece of the puzzle. But long story short, what I want to get to is that the notion of having different bodies and different energetic structures to access, let's say, different levels of reality is not new. Many different cultures and traditions have it. And it doesn't really matter how you want to name them. I'm going to use the names that I usually use, but if they don't, I don't know, if you have a different name for that same energetic structure, use yours. And in this vision, essentially, we have, there's the kind of like the energetic structures that we are, to say in a certain way, given when we incarnate, we come to this earth. And then we have the soul and the spirit. And I'm not going to engage with the soul and the spirit right now, but within the bodily structures that we have when we incarnate, we speak about 3. And I mean, yeah, it's more nuanced than that, but we talk about 3, and we have the physical body, which is the the more dense, the one that we usually engage with and and identify as ourselves. Then there's an energetic structure that we call the body of vitality, which is essentially like the life energy, the energy that keeps you alive. And then we have another structure which some people call the dream body, the astral body, the double. And this structure is, it's also part of our incarnated experience, because when we die, after a period of time, this body also dissolves. It doesn't remain. Our soul remains, our spirit remains, but this body is particular to our experience as humans. And it is this body in which we engage when we dream. And so essentially what happens is that usually we are, we identify ourselves with the physical body, so our consciousness kind of remains, let's say, awake or aware in our physical body. Essentially because we don't really grant value to our other energetic structures usually. And at night when we dream, for most of us, the double, leaves our body, our astral body, our dream body, leaves our body anyways, even if we don't remember it. When we remember it, that's the experience, for instance, of having a lucid dream. It's the experience of accessing other realities, dimensions, all these stories that we hear of people, with remote viewing. They're engaging with their dream body, their double. People who at night go and visit other places, etc. And the one of the reasons why we don't engage with our double and our dream body normally, one, as I said, is because we don't necessarily grant it value. We don't see the richness of information, of knowledge, of growth that we can access through our double. And also because, there are people for whom this comes naturally, but there are people who don't, so we have to train it. We have to essentially gain more energy in order to be able to, activate the dream body and purposefully remain conscious while the dream body is engaged. And I'm going to tell you about my most recent experience with having an out-of-body experience. And this, I should also say that this dream body, it's, when we dream, it's the unconscious that's producing the dreams that we have. And not necessarily, the dream body is engaging and is there, but when I refer to being aware in the dream body is when, when you're lucid in your dream, so you know that you're dreaming, and you can actually also have the power to either change your dream or get out of your dream and go to different realities, etc. And we can view the double, the dream body, as kind of like a much more intelligent self. It's not our whole self, but if even if you're a very bright person, a very bright human in your physical body, your double has, it has all the access to the information in the unconscious, right at hand. So in that sense, it also has, let's say, a larger pool of information to draw from. And time and space also happens in a different way when we are in our dream body. So usually the experience is that when we're in our dream body, we see things super slowly. Like everything is, we're living it so much faster that if you look at yourself when you're dreaming or sleeping from your dream body, it might seem like some people say that they're afraid that they might be dead because time is happening at a different speed, and time and space aren't linear for the dream body either. So we can potentially, go visit other places, as I mentioned, visit other realities, other beings, etc. The thing also is that, if we don't kind of consciously work on that, if you don't have the natural ability to, to engage with your dream body, if we happen to have eventually, a lucid dream experience, it's really great and it feels, fun, and, we might have it as a, oh, this happened to me once. But the real wealth comes from being able to kind of direct our dream body to do things with this dream body, you know, in this much more intelligent, capable, wise part of ourselves. So we can, for instance, do practice in our dream body. We can learn things in our dream body. As I mentioned, we can go visit other places. We can go and help other people. So there are a lot of possibilities in terms of engaging with the dream body. And so I'm going to tell you about my most recent experience with an out-of-body experience, or engaging with my astral body or my double. And I have had many experiences throughout my life. This isn't something that comes super naturally to me, so I have had to practice to engage in, you know, in different exercises, and you know, and I see the potential, so I engage in it. But as a child, I remember having, you know, a lot of lucid dreams. I remember being able to see myself leaving my body when I was going to sleep. I have had many experiences also of kind of, you know, like transferring my consciousness to my dream body somewhere else, etc., etc. But my most recent experience, I wanted to tell you about it because it came through a crisis. I had a really terrible crisis a few months ago, and my body felt in such panic that essentially my dream body left my body. And I was still conscious in my physical body. I could, you know, I could function, I could walk around, but the experience was really, really strange, because I was conscious in my physical body, but I could also see myself from, you know, from above. And I was also able to, I mean, I would just close my eyes, or even sometimes without closing them, and I was, you know, I was in other places. I was, you know, at some point I was overflying, I don't know, this field. I went with my double or astral body to very specific places. I encountered all these very strange beings. So I was engaging in my dream body while I was also in my physical body. Let's say the problem was that because it happened through a crisis, it was kind of like a survival mechanism of my system. You know, I can't be in this physical body right now. Everything's, you know, I'm in danger, so I'm leaving. And so because it happened in such a way, I didn't, let's say, have control of my dream body to be able to engage with it in a way in which I wanted to go here, so I went there, or I was engaging with this particular thing, or doing practice, or anything. I was just kind of bouncing around in my double, which was a lot of fun. I mean, the experience and the things that I saw were ridiculously beautiful. I mean, they made the crisis feel so much better because I was enjoying that experience of being in double so much. But you know, after the few days that the crisis, you know, happened, and I was able to kind of like ground myself again, I have been doing several different practices, but one that I like to do that works for me is to go into a like deep relaxation state, almost like a hypnosis state. You do self-hypnosis. I do it through a technique called, at least in Spanish, it's autogenic, but it's. I'll put the description to this technique in the description of the video. But essentially, it's a technique where you go into deep relaxation, and then in that space, which is kind of the same state as when you're about to fall asleep. You know how when you're already in bed and you're getting very sleepy, you're about to fall asleep, there's this tiny, there is this space, it's not necessarily tiny, but there's this space where you are already asleep, but you are conscious. So that's a really great moment to tell your dream body that you want to engage with it. So one of the things that that I do is, for instance, say I'm conscious in my dream body, or I say I have lucid dreams, or I say I leave my body. I use short words in positive that that for me mean exactly that. For me mean that my double is going to leave my body. And you pair this, or I pair this with an image as well. So if I'm using, for instance, the phrase, I leave my body, I visualize my dream body kind of, in the roof or something, like hovering above my physical body. And I particularly experience the kind of the awareness in double, at least right now in my development of those practices or that type of experience, is that I don't necessarily have a clear sensation of my double being outside of my physical body, but it's very clear that my consciousness is different. So I start seeing different things, I start accessing different things. And for me, sometimes, usually it's kind of like a, I don't know, like a little screen opening up in my, if I'm lying down and I have my eyes closed, a screen opens up, and I can see something very clearly that has a very different quality to when you visualize something or when you remember something. It's a different quality than a memory, because it's much more tangible. I know that we all visualize and see things in our mind in a very different way, but my own comparison with my memories or my visualizations makes it clear to me that this is a different experience. And that's why it's very important to test everything, even also when you're starting to sense energy. It's really great to start testing it and to see how you see things, how you visualize things, how you hear things, because you start creating a map of how you sense the world energetically as well. So so that's basically the experience. And there are other techniques that other people also recommend. For instance, I think Carlos Castaneda, he used to say that that you could look at your hands throughout the day, and so when in the dream you looked at your hands, you could say, oh, I'm in a dream. There are some, for instance, dream yoga practices also recommend throughout your day constantly stopping for a moment and realizing, oh, this is a dream, which is kind of the more like the Buddhist vision, where everything's a dream, and we're just dreaming another dream. So so this kind of allows you to understand that this is a dream, so that when you're in a dream you can also understand that this is a dream. And the engaging with the double or the astral body or dream body, it can also be a way to grow, to liberate. Essentially, if we use it also, for instance, for practicing, for meditating, for being in clear light, in Rigpa, it potentializes our growth. And I don't know, and I just find it a lot of fun to be able to access different realities and know that your experience is not anchored here in this very tangible physical body. There's more. So let me know if you've had any out-of-body experiences, how it went, if it's something that comes natural to you, if you engage with your dream body, all of that. I'd love to know.